And I'm curious actually for those who are watching, the foreigners watching, and for those men in general who are watching, what would you prefer, a city girl or a province girl in the Philippines?
I would say that each has its own advantages and
Of
disadvantages.
course.
So, if you want to date a province girl,
Yeah.
there are certain limitations, right? There are things that they are knowledgeable of, and there are
Mm.
things that they don't really have any idea. Like they're not adept, especially in the Western world.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I have Shay with me. Actually, we had an amazing day of mungus. She cooked mungus for me, and I was craving for it for the past days, and she was so sweet to cook for me the mungus. Thank you, Shay.
Anything for you,
It was really, really very yummy. I love the lemongrass most of all in the I can really taste and smell the lemongrass. Oh, I'm having a review of her cooking.
impromptu
Impromptu
review.
review. But yeah, keep it up. I will ask you again to cook that.
Yes, anytime.
It was really good. It's full of herbs and it's full of aroma, like a homely aroma. Because the thing about this, guys, there's this Filipino how to say this cuisine called mongos, where for me it can only be perfected when it's homemade. Like you, even in restaurants, it's still different. But when it's homemade, I don't know why. This is it just me or it's really like that? No,
Yeah,
that
it
that
is.
kind of cuisine is just
Mm-mm,
perfect for home.
it
Yeah,
is. I also feel the same way.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Homemade really makes you eat like 4 cups of
Please
rice,
don't tell them how many cups of rice I did. My
the
God.
whole rice cooker.
I'm not ashamed because it was really good. So thank you,
Thank
Shay.
you.
So today, guys, we are going to talk about something. By the way, I really love this backdrop here. I love these flowers. I don't know if this flower is in your country, bougainvillea. Is this common in the Philippines? But anyways, we're gonna talk today about are Filipinas lazy?
I think this is a stereotype, and I think the people who are saying this is basing on isolated experiences, because being lazy does not come from a certain ethnicity or nationality. I think a person's work ethic varies from person to person. It's not because you're a Filipina you're lazy. It's kind of like the same when other nationality will say all Americans are fat. That's not true. I
Mm,
mean, we know people that are very health conscious. You know, they are really very strict with their diet. You cannot say Americans are fat because not all Americans are fat. So, in the same way, you cannot say Filipinas are lazy. But when we say lazy, like, what's your definition of lazy? What are your bases when you say Filipinas are lazy?
would you define the girls who are having jobs as hardworking and compared to the province girls who don't have a job as not as hardworking as the one who has a job?
Sometimes, you know, the society equates the word lazy just because you don't have a 9 to 5 job, right? You know, every person, or let's focus on Filipinas.
Yeah.
Not every Filipina is driven to have a career. Some Filipinas are really just driven to have a simple life, probably
Right.
farm their own crops,
Yeah.
just be at home. If they want to be in a relationship, become a wife, they just want to stay home. But we cannot call that lazy, because lazy for me, the definition on that is just strictly not doing anything, even if you're capable of doing something, right? So if you're a province girl and you opt to be just stay at home wife,
Yeah.
you cannot call that lazy, because being a homemaker also
Requires a lot.
It requires a lot of work.
Yeah.
You have to create a home. Creating a home is not easy. You can have a house, but it's not going to feel like home. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So creating a home is not easy. Also, maintaining a home,
Yeah. Cleaning and all.
cleaning, cooking, doing the laundry,
Laundry.
all that stuff requires effort, requires time,
Mm.
and that's not being lazy. If I decide to be a homemaker, if I decide to be just a trophy wife, like what other people call
Yeah.
that, um, I wouldn't call myself lazy because I just want to take care of my husband. I just want to take care of my partner. I want to cook for my partner. I want to, wash his clothes, wash my kids' clothes. That's not lazy. So if someone says Filipinas are lazy, like where is that? Where is that statement coming from? Like what's your basis or what's your
Exactly.
definition of lazy? Just because some Filipinas don't have a 9 to 5 job.
Exactly. I agree with you on that. And especially the province girls, they don't have the career like going to the office. They don't have laptops, but they have the, how do you call that? The one to use for the bolo. They
Machete.
have the machete, the bolo. They don't have laptops, but they have the machete, and they have these tools to cut crops or to even climb a coconut. So that's something that is like two different worlds. But then some foreigners are still, trying to define that as lazy because the Filipina is not doing anything from their perspective.
And I think because, I mean, they equate not working 9 to 5 job as lazy because the woman is not earning money, right? But then again,
Okay.
every relationship, every dynamic in the relationship is different. If the husband says, I don't want you to work, I don't want you to earn money, I have the capability to financially take care of you, so why would you go to work just for the society not to call you lazy? Because again, staying at home is not being lazy. There's a lot of work that you have to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Even just cleaning the house would take hours sometimes,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
And even if you don't have to do anything else but just cooking, oh my god,
Oh,
cooking
yeah.
takes like a lot of hours. The preparation, maybe
It's
that's
the
an hour of
dishwashing that takes,
preparation.
I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. So cooking, the whole thing is like a 3 hour process right there. That's work. And also you've mentioned about province girls and city girls. I can say that there are things that a province girl can do that city girls cannot, and there are things that a city girl can do that a province girl cannot. So there's it's not like a one size fits all. Is that what you call that?
Yeah.
Like there has to be a certain job for you not to be called lazy, because again, staying at home requires effort and time. And like you said earlier about machete, I don't know if a city girl can actually farm, and farming takes a lot of time
Yeah.
and
Being under the heat of the sun.
yeah, and wisdom. Like
Exactly, the
I,
wisdom too.
I don't know how to farm or plant a tree or plant rice or whatever.
Exactly. They have actually like a measurement. For example, the rice, when they're going to plant, they actually have some kind of measurement, and they don't even use a measuring tool to measure the difference between the next seed. Like they use imagination, and it's so accurate. So you're right that they actually have wisdom in that too. Like when you see a farm girl in there, you don't just see someone without brains. My God, they're actually very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, people calling people lazy, I mean, I think you need to stop prying on other people's lives because, again, especially this Western and Filipina relationship wherein the Filipina is not working and
Exactly.
people think that she's just really after his money. But what if that's what he wants? Like, what if he just want her to just sit right beside him all day, 24/7? That's their.
It's none of our business,
It's
right?
none of our business. That's what they want. So why would you call that? Why would you call that lazy when that's the consensus or the dynamic of that
Of both.
people's relationship?
Yeah.
I think that if you love the person, you would want them to grow. And part of
I
that
like
growth
that.
is academic or whatever the
The
person
girl wanted to pursue.
wanted to pursue, they would have their full support, right?
Mm-mm.
So I have met people who don't want their women to actually finish education, and I might be biased on this because I'm a fan of academic. I mean education. I would always tell people to finish their bachelor's degree, or if they can, advance their degree. I might be biased with my opinion on this, but I think that finishing your education has to be like basic of everything. Like, I don't know. I just really think that you always need to have something to fall back in case something, something, if the relationship goes or turns sour, you need to have something to fall back to. And in cases like what you just mentioned, it is hard for her to start over because, especially in the Philippines, where the higher your education is, the chances of winning, the chances of getting hired. So if you don't have the bachelor's degree, chances are you're going to probably be not even accepted in the malls
Exactly.
as a staff.
And especially if you're already like past 30 or past 40, there's like a limit of age too.
There is a discrimination,
Yeah.
age discrimination happening in this part of the world, especially in the service industry. I wouldn't mention the fast food or the fast food chain, but if you notice the fast food chain here, they always just hire 18 years old to like 24.
24. Yeah, 18 to 24 only.
If you're above that, you're a senior citizen.
You have nowhere
And-
to go
yeah.
anymore.
And I think it's somehow, I don't know, I'm gonna be very negative about this, but I think it's just the company's benefit,
Yeah.
exploiting these young people,
Yeah.
putting them in labor and not actually paying them, not even near the minimum wage.
Exactly.
Because young people have to, what do you call that? Like, they need experience for them to,
Tolerate.
yeah, they need experience to for them to actually advance as far as employment, right? So I think a lot of these establishments are, you know, taking advantage of that, taking advantage of these young people, hiring them, not even paying them the minimum wage. But anyway, that's off topic. Remember the question I asked you earlier? What memories do you always revisit when life gets heavy? I would always go back to when I was in high school and
Yeah.
elementary and high school. We had nothing. We were barely eating. Eating 3 times a day was already like a luxury or a blessing, right? So, in that situation where she thinks that, or I'm going to put myself in that situation. So, if I'm in that situation, even if I have kids, I know I'm still, it's not the end of the world. I am still going to survive because although if I'm putting my okay, if I'm putting myself into her shoes, right? If I have not finished my education, just as long as you kanang ipursige ba, like you're very determined in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you will always survive.
Yeah.
And again, you survived before you met the your husband, your partner. There's no other reason, or there's no way you will not survive after the relationship with the other
Exactly.
person. You just really have to be believing yourself that you
Yeah.
can you can really do it. You did it before. There's no reason why you can't do it again.
Exactly.
And
I love
also,
that.
and also, um, situations like that really creates like loveless relationships, and
It does.
and I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of loveless relationships out there.
I know some people, some Filipinas out there who don't even love their foreigner partners, but then they're staying just because of that. They don't want to go back to being in survival mode. It's like a practical choice for them, and I don't know. I feel pity on them, but then it's their choice. It's their choice. What do you think about that? I
Yeah.
think some of you also know about that, or maybe some of you are in this situation right now who cannot leave because it's practical for you. You cannot. It's just there's a lot of stake. There's a lot of
At
at
stake.
stake if you leave the relationship, and especially if there's a kid involved, right?
And this situation doesn't really just apply to Western and Filipina relationship, but it can also be Filipino to Filipino, right? I know for sure that there are a lot of Filipino to Filipino relationships that are loveless and just staying for the sake of the kids and for the sake of what the other person can provide. But then that goes back to this limiting belief that we are conditioned by, could be our parents, could be
Society.
the society. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so sometimes really we really just have to get rid of that limiting belief. I know we can do it. But yeah, if you can still, you know, try to reborn that chemistry, that love that you once have, try as much as you can to
Do you
regain
think
that.
do you think it's possible to rekindle the flame?
It is possible, but it depends on the circumstances, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Depends on the people too if they're willing.
Oh, in the
I
first
think.
place, what happened? Why was the love not there anymore? What did he do? What did she do? Right. So, but it's not impossible to rekindle or to regain the love and everything in the relationship. But yeah, again, it all boils down to what you're willing to sacrifice.
Exactly. Thank you, Shay. And I'm curious actually for those who are watching, the foreigners watching, and for those men in general who are watching, what would you prefer, a city girl or a province girl in the Philippines? For you, Shay, what is your opinion about this one? Like, generally, who would you like have like more weight, the city girls or the province girls?
I can't say because it's not that one is bad than the other, or the other is
Exactly.
better than or city girls is better than province girls, or
Province,
vice versa,
yeah.
right? So I don't know, maybe it just really is, it depends on everyone's preferences.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I'm a city girl. I think I'm a province girl. But then
You're a mix.
but then
You,
if if I do campaign about you have to finish your education, you need to have a career, I would probably fall on the city, a
city girl.
modern a modern girl, city girl. But yeah, I don't know.
I think you're a mix of both because you are also very well equipped with the knowledge of editing, which is not really province girls are not into that. They're more really into like labor, farming, and all of that stuff. And but you can cook mungoso, so
The only
that's a point on the province girl.
But I would say that each has its own advantages and
Of
disadvantages.
course.
So, if you want to date a province girl,
Yeah.
there are certain limitations, right? There are things that they are knowledgeable of, and there are things that they don't really have any idea. Like very kanang and not adept, especially in the western world.
Yes.
So it depends on the person, if you have how much tolerance you have. Because if you
Exactly.
don't like a girl who pursues career, who pursues who prefers going to the restaurants over homemade cooking,
Yeah.
right? Over somebody who does not want to be in a restaurant and just want to home cook, but then she lacks in, in the other department.
Mm.
It depends on the man's preferences,
Mm.
because they have to know what they can tolerate. Because for me,
Exactly.
there are men who cannot tolerate, because sometimes,
Mm.
have you heard remarks about expats saying, "Oh, Filipinos are dumb"?
Yeah.
That's just because there are things that we don't know of, like, even just like for cooking. Some of us are cooking food, overcooking food
A
to the
different
fact that
way.
it's already dry. And
Yeah.
then if you if that's something that triggers you, or if that's something that icks you, then you probably have to date somebody who is more knowledgeable about cooking.
Cooking,
It can be a
exactly.
city girl, or it can be, I don't know. But yeah, there are disadvantages of
Mm.
each. What do you
Yeah.
think?
My next question is actually like in line with that, because when it comes to adjustments, do you think that the city girl can adjust better in the Western ways, eh, uh, compared to the province girls?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because city girls are already adept to some of the Western mindset.
Mm,
Because, they are exposed to social media, they're exposed to television,
right.
they're probably like living in a half Western way
Yeah, but a lot of
already.
foreigners also says that they don't want westernized.
Yeah, so your option is to date
Yeah.
somebody who is in the province, but
Yeah.
then again, you have to think the certain limitations
Exactly.
that a province girl um,
The
possess.
adjustments.
Yeah, yeah.
The adjustments that the province girl has to go through with you, because she has no idea of the culture difference between you, and that's something that I think I have to emphasize in this. And are you going to be willing to teach her, not just to teach her, but to be patient?
Yeah, it depends on your tolerance. Like, this is a very simple example, right?
Mm.
So let's say in the cooking department, like you ask your city girl to hand you the Parmesan cheese,
Yeah.
and she gives you the Parmesan cheese. She knows what Parmesan cheese is. If you
Yes.
ask a province girl, could you hand me the Parmesan
They
cheese, and
have
she
no
gives you soy
idea.
sauce, right?
Exactly.
And is this something that would, trigger you? Is this something that would make you mad? Or because this is not going to be a one-time thing only, this is going to
Exactly.
be a training.
Lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, she's not adept to the Western world. She does not know what Parmesan cheese is. She does not know all kinds of cheeses. She does not know probably how to operate a refrigerator or
Microwave
whatever,
oven, yeah.
So simple things like this you have to teach her how to do, and she will not be able to pick that up during the first time, second time, third time, fourth time.
Exactly.
You,
Exactly.
you will probably end up your whole life with her, teaching her not only that but other things as well. So just a simple example for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it all boils down to how much you can tolerate. I really like the way you emphasize that, because yes, it has something to do with tolerance, because the culture difference is really, I would not say big, it's huge.
And
It's
also the
huge.
communication part.
Oh yes, the
Even if
barrier.
we, like, okay, let's just say for example we are city girls, right? And we always speak English, and even with our subscribers saying, "Oh, you're so fluent in English. I like your English," or "Your English is so easy to understand." In a relationship with a Westerner, there is still a big communication barrier.
Yes.
So how much more with a
With a
province
province
girl,
girl who never speak English.
and who is not adept to, or who is not familiar with the phrases,
The
the
idiomatic
idiomatic
expressions,
expressions,
yes. The jokes, the
yeah,
sarcasms,
yeah.
all of that.
And communication is a big, it plays a big role in the relationship. So if you constantly have to, uh, what do you call that?
Explain.
Explain, or like if there's always a misunderstanding because there's a big communication
You have
barrier.
to decode.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So that's another example.
Yeah.
Because I just really, I hear a lot about, men complaining about their Filipinas being dumb, being unable to actually catch up what they're trying to teach them. And it's not, again, it's not what we're accustomed to.
But they're not really dumb,
It's
right?
not,
I
it's not
think,
dumb. We're
yeah.
just not, we grow up without having refrigeration or ventilation, or these luxuries that you guys have. I think, in the Western and the Filipino relationship, communication is really the biggest barrier.
Yeah.
No matter how fluent you are.
Exactly. It's not about fluency also. It's about how you can easily comprehend. Because there are phrases that the Western people are saying, but then it means something different to us based on our experience and culture. And sometimes it's the trigger that happens because you mean something out of it, but then it's not actually what he meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you just
Example,
one
no?
last example,
Yeah.
right? Communication barrier. So, like, let's say, for example, I ask you what, like, you're my partner, you're my Western partner, and I ask you what you want to eat. And then you ask me, instead of responding to me, what about pork chop? What about. So, instead of responding me that, you would say, what do you feel like cooking? And then I would give you options, right? And then you would say, whatever.
Yeah.
For me, the whatever is rude. And of
In
course
our
you,
culture, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So if I ask you a question and you would say whatever, it's like,
It's very dismissive, kind of like.
what? So I get
Yeah.
pissed off. I get
See?
pissed off when I hear that whatever, because I'm trying to get some information from you. Like, I want you to say something what you want me to cook, because I'm willingly want to cook that for you, because I want to make you happy, right? So if you say whatever, that whatever word is, I'm allergic to it.
A big trigger for you.
What about you? Does it also, is it the same with you?
No,
Or is there any
I'm
award?
okay.
Is there any award that they use that for you is like, that pisses you off, but then it really means nothing to them? Like, it's
I
just an
can't
expression.
think right now, but I think there is, but I can't think right now. And yeah, there's a lot of instances where, like, the phrases I just can't remember exactly right now. But sometimes there are phrases that I misinterpret, but in the end, it's nothing to them. And I'm like, oh my god! But it all goes back to, like, because it's our culture, and for them it's nothing.
Yeah. So with that example, it has nothing to do with fluency.
Yeah.
It's not nothing. It's got nothing to do with, grammar wise or whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, just the whatever phrase, I mean, statement is like, it doesn't sit well with me.
Even if I say it's with the sweet face, whatever. Because for me, the tone plays a role.
Yes,
Like,
I think so
whatever.
too, yeah.
But when you say whatever,
Whatever you wanna cook, yeah, maybe I can accept that. But if you say like, whatever,
a dismissive kind of tone. Yeah. It's like, you don't care. I'm trying to make something for you, but you have to help me. You don't get that.
yeah. So that's just a very simple example
Yeah.
that can really get misunderstood.
And it will create already a rift sometimes. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I am very, very happy today because I was able to eat mangoes. Thank you so much. For those who have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe if you like my vibe. And for those who are here in my channel actively commenting and interacting with me, big thank you so much to all of you. So I wish you a great day or night wherever you are in the planet. Thank you so much, Shay, for your presence today.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.